All right, Frankie from Flatbush, from Frankie from Flatbush headquarters, and we're talking about Brandon Stevens. A lot of people are confused or upset or angry about the Brandon Stevens signing by the New York Jets, and it is a little bit questionable on the surface. After all, the first reported number was 3 years, 36 million. That seems like a lot for a guy who is not a top of the market or even some would say middle market cornerback. But as always, you got to look a little deeper. The guaranteed money is only 23 million, so he's going to make seven and change. So for a guy at seven and change, makes a little bit more sense. And I wanted to take a look at how we might use him. So what we see on the screen here is the coverage uses, what we might do versus what the Ravens like to do. The Ravens also moved him around a lot. Safety, nickel, outside corner, inside corner, safety in the box. They moved him around. That's not good. We're going to keep him as a boundary corner. And listen to this quote, by the way. I'm reading over here on my other screen. Brody Sheets of ESPN. Quote, after speaking to a few people inside the Ravens office, I'm giving the Jets signing of cornerback Brandon Stevens an A plus. How about that? Reportedly has an unmatched work ethic. That good for the new AG regime? Would put flowers in a torture chamber during practice. That sound good? Not a guy you want to target on third down. Anonymous. So that's what Brody Sheets has to say. Hopefully he's somewhat uh, has a good reputation. But so that was something nice I found unexpectedly. And this is a kid who does have the character. When he was at SMU, for example, this is one of those schools that they have a special uniform number, like LSU has number 7, and they give this special uniform number to one guy per year who personifies the values of the team and da 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 da, da based on some great from the past. And for SMU, it's number 23, and they gave it to him. And this is a kid who started out as a running back, believe it or not, and now he's playing cornerback. So, a lot of interesting things about Brandon Stevens. He's he's not making 12 million a year. Okay, the contract's only going to break down to 7 and change per season, guaranteed. Um, and if the non-guaranteed money is in incentives, and he makes those incentives, that means he's playing well, and it's fine, but we're only on the hook for 23 over 3 years. He's only 27 years old. He's lean and lanky. And I was thinking this is like a Sauce Gardner Jr. in terms of physique. Not that he's as good as Sauce, he's not. But maybe we wanted to pair him up that way because we were going to play a certain style. So that's where my theory comes in. Here's with the old spreadsheet. Here's some Frankie facts on the old Frankie spreadsheets. But what you're looking at here are what these two teams, the Lions, which is important for us because our new head coach is AG, who was the Lions defensive coordinator last year. And in this case, the Ravens are important because we're looking at Brandon Stevens, and that's where he comes from. So, what did the Lions do? So, cover 0, cover 1, cover 2 man. The first three over here, B, C, and D column, those are man coverages. Lions ran 45% of their coverages in man last year. The Ravens, on the other hand, only did 32%. That's a significant delta or difference of 13%. And I think we're going to be in cover 1 a lot, for example. Just looking at the numbers, 37%, that's a lot of cover 1, more than the Jets are used to running. Jets like to run a lot of cover 3, or in the past they did. And zone coverage, so the Ravens were in zone coverage 64% of the time, whereas the Lions only 49%. So what I'm thinking is maybe this kid is better in man, and maybe he's better at press and with those long arms and his length and speed. And if you watch the tape, there are a lot of good reps out there. I saw a highlight video clip of him against Jamar Chase, and he was looking pretty good. Now, there's other video clips out there where it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. So maybe a little bit of a mixed bag. And the New York Jets think, well, we have Aaron Glenn, defensive backfield background, Steve Wilkes, defensive backfield background. We've got Dre Bly, and we have Coach Harris. Charles Harris? We'll get the name straight, but we got another coach that's very highly regarded. And so the thinking maybe this kid has the raw materials and is good enough, and we could shape him up. We're going to use him a little differently. And with his work ethic, which you hear about from old Brody Sheets over here, hopefully that's a real person. Brody Sheets says unmatched work ethic. That's the kind of guy you need. And maybe that's the sort of thing that'll rub off on Sauce. Sauce Gardner had that kind of work ethic when he first came in as a rookie, and I think he fell off a little bit in that area last year. If you remember when he was a rookie, there was tons of reports saying he's the first one out on the practice field, and I was always like, well, where's everybody else? This rookie is the one who's going to lead the team. In how often they're the first one onto the practice field doing extra reps of whatever they're doing. As a rookie, what about the rest of these bozos? Get out there, But you heard that about him as a rookie, and that was great. But you didn't hear so much about that last year. So maybe Sauce and a little bit less golf, a little bit less video games, a little bit less social media, Mr. Sauce, a little bit more practice and a little bit more drill work, senor, por favor. That would be nice. But maybe the Brandon Stevens work ethic is the thing that'll rub off on Sauce, and maybe some of Sauce's technique work and drill work and everything else like that will rub off on Stevens, and maybe we'll have something really, really nice in Brandon Stevens, all for $7 million and change, not 12 guaranteed, 7 and change. So just some things I've been thinking about as far as Brandon Stevens, because that is the head scratcher of all the signings so far. There will be more signings, though, don't worry. But I think it's going to be a combination of coaching, our expert coaching. Not that the Baltimore Ravens have bad coaching. They certainly do not. In general, although their defensive backfield, even with Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton. Don't forget, they had Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton. Who are you going to throw against? You're going to pick on old Little Stevens over here, right? So that could explain some of the yardage that he gave up, just because they're not going to target Marlon Humphrey when he's healthy and playing. And Kyle Hamilton, they're going to avoid that guy because he's a stud muffin, right? So that could explain just some of the volume that was going the way of Stevens. And so, on the other hand, we have Sauce Gardner, so he's going to face the same kind of thing on our team. So, but again, I think we're going to use him a little differently. We'll probably be in man, 10, 15, 20% more of the time, some kind of man, cover 0, cover 1, cover 2 man, something, maybe man match or what have you. And a little bit better coaching, and maybe we can get something out of this guy. So let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Would appreciate a subscription. And if not, hey, give it a thumbs up. You can also join the Inner Circle if you'd like to support my work and want to see more of it. If you like the spreadsheets and the Frankie facts and the film study we do and everything else we do, you might want to join the Inner Circle where you get exclusive stuff. We have a couple of videos out now that are exclusive to the members. By the way, if you are a member, check out those videos. You have exclusive access to them. Taking a look at some of the throws that Justin Fields was able to make that maybe some people think he can't make. Actually, he can. All right. See you next time.
Non-pertinent. How do you log that non-pertinent?
No drug talk?
They use codes to hide their patron phone numbers. And when someone does use a phone, they don't use names. And if someone does use a name, he's reminded not to. All of that is valuable evidence.
Of what?
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy?
We're building something here, Detective. We're building it from scratch. All the pieces matter.